Have you ever felt the constant need to be right? Well, I have. So this is my story, and I'm hoping this can help other people as well. So the first thing was I had to learn to be aware of it, of that pattern. So the constant need for me to be right. I was constantly trying to prove myself, and I know I was getting upset when people wouldn't listen to me. I was upset that people wouldn't agree with me, or I was upset. I'd be upset when, basically, I'd get triggered if someone wouldn't listen to me, and I wanted to give my point of view, and so basically, I was also, having to pay attention to how people were around me. So when people are saying around you, like, oh, I have to walk on eggshells around you, then that's something to take notice of. Or somebody's like, oh, you always have to be right, don't you? It's just something to notice and realize that, well, maybe I am trying to be right. And normally this stems from something from childhood. Almost always it does. And sometimes it's hard to notice why we're like this. And so hopefully my story will help you with this. So the first one is becoming aware of it. And sometimes people who are competitive, can feel like they need to be right because they want to win. And so basically my story was I had somebody help me, break it down. So I never thought about it like this. So ask yourself if sometime in your childhood where you were right, but someone told you you were wrong. And so this could have been somebody like, an authority figure, and then you're like, well, they didn't believe me. So then this pattern just replicated throughout your whole life, but you didn't even notice it. So for me, when I was a child, I was playing on the playground with a bunch of kids, and I had a basketball in my hand. This kid tried to steal away from me. I said no. The kid did it again. I said no again. And then one more time, the kid did it again, and I shoved the kid. All the teacher saw me do was shove the kid. So guess who got in trouble? Me. So I got in trouble for saying no and being right in that moment because the kid shouldn't have kept going and trying to steal it from me. But they're kids. We're kids. So like, what do you expect? But basically what it turns out was, I got called into the principal's office. I got in trouble for it. And I was told I was wrong, even though in my point of view, I was right. And my mom's point of view, I was right. So basically, me saying no meant yes. And so that didn't give, me good feeling that I was like, well, this is just unfair and judgmental. So throughout my whole life, I've thought like the world is judgmental and unfair and poor me. I'm never right. People always think I'm wrong, or I get in trouble a lot. And so this pattern carried throughout my whole life. I didn't even realize how bad, but it was like in my relationships. So, my romantic relationships. So it's like I was always having to be right. They were never, or yeah, they were wrong. I was right. Or if they were right, I was like, well, fine, then I'm wrong. And so then I was kind of like a back and forth. And so it was always defensive and very reactive in when I was wrong or when I thought they were wrong. And so it was just like, it was a nasty cycle. And it was through all of my relationships and, friends, family, romantic. So it's just like it carried on. It's terrible. And then it was like this year I noticed, I was like, why is it that I always have to feel that way? So when I finally understood where in my childhood I had it and why, I'm able to start healing from it. I mean, I'm still not perfect. I still, find myself wanting to be right, but at least I'm, finally in the healing process and understanding why. So the first thing is just being aware of it and maybe why. I know some people may not always understand why, but you have to notice that this carries out through your whole life. And so it's just something that you always feel like you have to know it, or you're wanting to be correct. And it's like, it's a defense mechanism. So you're constantly, even like, I've even noticed like I would shoot people down before they would even try with me. So it was just something that wasn't never a good thing. But you know, it is what it is, and it's a pattern. It's just something to notice about it. So basically, it's one, becoming aware, and then maybe, searching back in your childhood to find out where and why. And then also, with this revelation, how can you heal this? And so it's like, and now that you know that you have this awareness of that, you do like to be right. So now it's noticing when you're having a conversation with somebody, if you have that feeling of you wanting to be right or trying to win instead of working it out with somebody, or being like, okay, I agree to disagree, without getting reactive. And so it's just accepting it without judgment. Like, do not make yourself wrong. It's okay. We all have these patterns, some sort of pattern. And so it's like, it's just noticing it and improving yourself from there on. And when you start to notice this, like, you will heal, and you'll actually become a better person with others, because then you're like, oh, this is just a pattern from my past. But it's not always, I don't have to be right in every instance. So it's just like, yeah, just because you want to prove others wrong, because it's so super satisfying, and it's like a justification, and you feel better about yourself. But it's just, remember, it's a defense mechanism. And so, and your relationships will suffer if you are like this all the time. So it's just trying to figure out a way to heal it and observe it, and not let it make yourself so reactive. So, but yeah, so once I found that out, it was like a huge relief and a huge weight off my shoulders. I couldn't believe how much it was like throughout my whole life. So yeah, so I hope this helps you, and thank you for watching, and I hope you all watch the next video.